In this video, we're going to go over the history of the Manticore from 2021 to 2022. So the original project was inspired by these two massive sculptures by artist Xu Bing. These are called the Phoenixes, and these were made completely out of repurposed materials from construction sites. And I saw them in person and I thought they were amazing, and I brought back some pictures to my students and I said, hey, would you guys be interested in making a giant creature sculpture from repurposed materials and install it in our school? And a bunch of students said yes. So this is what I thought we would be doing. I thought we would construct a base out of cardboard and paper. I thought that we would cover our material with repurposed materials that would have otherwise been trashed, and that we invite the whole school to join us in this, and that we would install the creature somewhere in our school. To get up and running, we looked at a whole bunch of artists that work in cardboard to create sculptures. We also looked at artists who use repurposed materials to create sculptures. And we had a whole bunch of questions we were asking ourselves. We were asking project planning questions like, what will our creature be? How will we make it both big and movable? How and where will we install it? And then we had some driving essential questions, some bigger picture questions like, how does art's meaning change depending on where it's installed or who's looking at it? And how does teamwork change and develop over time? So with this all in mind, the students began. They started with brainstorms individually about what the creature could possibly be and what kind of materials we would use. And then we got together and we made a collective brainstorm. And this whiteboard is a picture of that first collective brainstorm. And the students decided ultimately on a manticore, which is a lion with bat wings and a scorpion tail. And the students thought this was great because it was a nod to our school, with the Bronx Arena lion being our school mascot. But they also loved the symbols that the lion stood for, like independence, yet being community and family oriented. They loved all the ways the wings could represent freedom and taking flight and independence in the real world. They even thought the manticore was a really cool symbol because itself, even though it's typically about darkness, they were like, you know what? You have to be unique, you have to be fierce to make an impact in the real world. At least sometimes you have to be fierce to make an impact in the real world. And they also thought that sometimes in dark moments we find our truest self. So even though the manticore is typically like a darker symbol, they thought that it was actually a symbol of truth and uniqueness. And then we talked about the repurposed materials being really important because things that were once considered broken can be transformed into something beautiful. So the students got to work. The project began. With the agreement of the Manticore, we began prototyping lion bodies in different positions. We began prototyping wings, like down here, feet, faces. We picked one prototype to run with and made it larger scale, and we thought that we would originally hang it up in the atrium, but later decided that wasn't the right place for the installation. So we came back to the drawing board and figured out some ways that we might be able to make the manticore stand up. But then in December 2021, another COVID wave came and people kind of scattered. Our project lost a lot of speed and energy with that, and it just kind of fizzled out. But then in 2022, the following school year, Chelly, the student you see here wearing black with blonde hair, she was part of the original team, and she said, hey, I'd love to pick up the project where we left off. Is that possible? And so she did. So what she ended up doing was, hiring students to help her with the project when she needed extra hands or extra height or opinions, and she would, and I would give them tasks in their class, and she would be a project director to guide the project along. Then in the winter and spring, Patrick Costello, an artist and a puppeteer, he came in and helped us with some of the builds of the Manticore to help with the shape and to help it stand up. One of the things that he really helped with was the modularity of the project, which was making sure that, like you can see these legs are in these sockets, that the leg could come in and out of the Manticore so that they could go through the door and the body could go through the door separately, since clearly it's a pretty big project. So that was invaluable, and all of his expertise. And then Shelley made the scorpion tail for it and a bat wing, and then she graduated. And when she graduated, this was the condition the Manticore was left in. And, it was certainly a beautiful sculpture, but it was not yet complete. And she said, the Manticore is yours, do what you want with it. It can just hang out here, or you guys can pick it up and finish it in the way you best see fit. So it sat in the back of the art classroom for 2 years until the fall of 2025, when I re-pitched to a totally new group of students, hey, would you like to work on the Manticore? And here we are, and here you are.